Yep, we're rolling. Welcome, listeners, to the first installment in Allie's Slay the Spire Overexplains series. My name is Allie, aka Fubby. I play this game a lot, in case you didn't know. I own this game on 3 different platforms, and I also play a lot of it modded, and I would estimate that I have a cumulative of 3,000 hours in this game. A couple of my IRLs have requested that I do an Overexplain run for all the times that we're not in call, so that people can watch it and learn from it at their leisure. And the first class that I was recommended was the Silent, because it was one of their favorite classes, so I suppose we will start here. In the Overexplain series, we're probably going to learn a number of things that build off of each other. So I kind of want to structure this that the first episode in the Overexplain series talks about very basic stuff. And as you get farther along in episodes, you learn more and more things that are advanced. So the first step to playing good Slay the Spire, in my personal opinion, is one that you don't get a lot from other walkthroughs, which is to take a deep breath and to assess where you are when you're playing and how you want the game to go. And I actually do this at the start of every run, believe it or not. And where I'm at right now is I want to teach you guys, which means I'm going to lock in. Now, sometimes when you play this game, you are going to want to just fool around and click all the question marks possible, because that's fun. And if you see the World of Goop event, you're going to want to take 11 damage to get 75 gold. No matter what it says, you're going to want to click on the scrap ooze till you're dead. You're going to want to not scroll through the map and look at the boss, and whoever it is, I'll just fight them, right? That's a way that you're allowed to play. But going into that, if you're going to play like that and you expect to get better, it's going to be kind of difficult to do so. So, from my perspective, if you play like that, you're not going to play very well. But you're going to have fun, and that's okay, because this game is about having fun. Now, if you want to get better at Slay the Spire, if you want to improve your win rate, if you want to get unlocks, if you want to power through your ascensions, you have to go into your runs from a perspective of, I need to learn what I can, I need to make plays that are not necessarily fun, I might need to turn down some shiny rare cards in order to make the best decision. That's a thing that happens. It's okay, and maybe it's less fun, but it'll improve your win rate. But at the start of the run, you should take a deep breath and assess if that's what you want to do or not. Okay, so with that out of the way, we've looked at the map. We're fighting the Guardian in Act 1. A big part about Overexplain runs for me is that they are Overexplain. So you're going to hear literally every minute scrap of advice that I have over the course of this run, and I don't want you to take all of it to heart all at once. I want you to try and absorb the broader information first, and then start to scope down to the little things that I throw in. Maybe you'll remember a little bit here and there, and that's okay too. But I want to put it all out for the internet to see, so that you guys can learn what you can from it. So, fighting a Guardian, I am incentivized to reduce my deck size, because this is the one boss in Act 3 that you can, that doesn't shuffle statuses into your deck. Hexaghost shuffles burns, Slime Boss shuffles slimes, Guardian shuffles nothing. So removing cards, transforming cards is particularly good when you see the Guardian for your Neos bonus. I like to look at the map first before I look at the Neos bonus, because it lets me decide what I want from the Neos bonus from a non-biased perspective. Whereas if I click on talk here, then I see 4 options and I know I only have those 4. So I like to see transforms, I like to see removes. There's a shop here. So maybe if we choose to go this very aggressive path, I like gold. I'm feeling kind of aggressive for this path, because there is a 1, 2, 3 elite path here. It's rather risky because it has no campfires in between, so maybe we get to this node and see how we're feeling. I kind of like that game plan. If I get a Nia's Lament, I don't think I can snipe many elites on this path. Yeah, I can't. So Nia's Lament is always good, but not the best. Okay. Lose all gold. I guess I could lose all gold, because I'm not going to see many shops here. I guess I got a shop right here. I also like 3 potions, because it lets me be aggressive. The way potion chance works in this game is at the start of every act, your chance to see a potion after a fight ends is 40%. And if you don't see a potion, it goes up by 10. If you do see a potion, it goes down by 10. So the likelihood of me seeing at least 1 potion before this elite is rather high. That's why choosing 3 random potions feels like you're missing value. I kind of like this. This seems fun, and it's advantageous because I'm going a path that won't see a shop very early on. And rare colorless cards can be pretty good with the Silence specifically, because she likes to manipulate card draw things. Let's see what we get. One of these really appeals to me. When you're drafting cards, it's important to consider the types of enemies that you're going to be fighting. Mostly Gremlin Knob. Seeing Gremlin Knob on floor 6 is a classic run-ender for a lot of people. And you want to draft cards accordingly so that that doesn't happen, which means you really want to take attacks. This is really good with the Silent, because you debuff people a lot with poison and with weak and with all sorts of things. So this is pretty good with the Silent. This might seem incentivizing because you get attacks, and attacks are really good against the Gremlin Knob. This card is just too slow. Metamorphosis is not a really good card. If you have the metadata memorized, then you'll realize that it is in F tier. People rarely take this card and win. The other big general advice that I would give as we're going through this run is that I do have all the metadata stored in my big non-grass touching head. So if you hear some advice and you're like, how am I supposed to know that in the run? You're not. You're really not supposed to. And that's okay. I would recommend grabbing an experienced friend, or maybe a tier list for cards to get you off the ground when you're learning how to play Slay the Spire for the first time. And as you play more and more and more, you will slowly begin to memorize the metadata. Even if you choose not to, whether you like it or not, you will run into cards that you're like, hey, that's always good, you know? If you've ever played Silent and you've drafted an Adrenaline, you know Adrenaline is always good no matter what. Well, it's usually good, right? But you learn these things over the course of your gameplay, and you get to make these decisions as you go with whether you want to try picking new cards that you don't really pick very often, or cards that you have noticed will improve your success. On the topic of which, I really like Sucker Punch here, because Sucker Punch is really good against Lagavulin, and it's really good against Gremlin Knob. This is really good against Sentries, but I just found a Fire Potion, and that's also really good against Sentries. I think I'm just going to take a Sucker Punch. Helps me to prevent shit. Oh, that's really bad, because I am broke. So even though I can't buy anything in this shop, I do want to go into it for a very specific reason, which is that you cannot see relics twice in a run. So I know for the rest of the run, I'm not going to see a Toxic Egg, I'm not going to see a question card, and I'm not going to see a toolbox. So we get to kiss those goodbye. Fortunately, we didn't really miss anything super spectacular. I guess I would have liked to buy a toolbox if I had the chance to, but that's okay. We missed buying a Fire Potion and a Crippling Cloud on sale, which is kind of a bummer, but oh well. We'll live. Sadistic Nature in the opening hand is good. Oh, I didn't realize, but Sadistic Nature combos with Sucker Punch as well, which is kind of insane. That's a really interesting win condition. I don't ever draft Sadistic Nature, but here we are. Another important thing to consider is that I am not God at this game, and I still have things to learn, you know? Even world record holders like Jorbs or Baylor Lord, they have things to learn too. And it's important to consider that you are fallible in this game. So put your pride down, because if you think this game isn't gonna rock your shit, oh honey, it will. It absolutely will. We see a rare card really early, and it's a pretty good rare card with sadistic nature. The way card rarity works in this game is your chance to see a rare card at the start of an act is 1%. Every time you see a common card, that chance goes up by 1%. If you see an uncommon card, the chance doesn't go up. If you see a rare card, the chance will reset back to... I'm sorry, I lied to you. The chance starting is -1%. Now, some of you might be confused because you'll say, wait, Ali, I've seen a rare card twice in a row. If when I see a rare card, the chance resets to -1%, why did I see another rare card in the next card reward? Because the chance should have been -1%. Well, technically you're right about that. The reason being is that this common card raised the chance to 1%. This one doesn't change it. And this 1% increase actually affects the chance of this. So the card rewards are shown in order of the percent chance rolls. So you can see a rare card twice in a row if it is the last card. The only way that can happen is you see a rare card, the next card you see is common to increase from -1 to 0, common increase from 0 to 1, and then you roll that 1% chance to see the rare card over here. That's how it works. I think I do want this Corpse Explosion, to be honest. It's pretty bad. Corpse Explosion doesn't score very highly on the tier list, but it's pretty good against sentries, it's pretty good against most multi-enemy fights, and I have the sadistic nature. It also sets my deck off in a very specific direction, which I kind of want it to go. In terms of map, I'm not sure if I want to go this way, because my deck is not really set up to defeat a Nob. Well, I have a Fire Potion. I guess I'll go this way. Fire Potion's really good against Nob. Ooh. This is an event that will really hurt you if you're not careful. A lot of people, especially new players, will think that they just want to click this button until you get the relic, and that is technically correct at low ascension. At higher ascensions, it might not be worth it. I am going to click this at least twice and probably 3 times. Oh, there we go. You got a ceramic fish, which is not my favorite. The amount of gold that you get from this is not nearly worth it. In fact, if you see ceramic fish in a shop and you buy it, almost always you will never break even. Even if you just happen to find it, you'd much rather find another relic than ceramic fish. I guess it's a little bit of gold, but it's not my favorite. Okay. This is a really interesting situation to find yourself in. So if I Sucker Punch this louse, the louse is going to deal 25% less damage, rounded down. 25% of 7 is 1.75. So if you do the damage exactly, it will deal 5.25 damage to me, which always gets rounded down to 5. So I'm going to be taking, if I weaken it, 6 plus 5 equals 11. That means I'll take 1 chip damage here. So when you're starting to learn how to play Slay the Spire, you generally like, oh, 1 damage, that's nothing, right? Here's the thing, you will always be able to defeat these hallway fights. These hallway fights are so easy. And if you take 1 chip damage for that, yeah, you could probably get away with that, but why do that when you could take 0 damage for it? This fight will be over pretty soon here, and I will have taken no damage. That is, like, the way that you should think in this game. There we go. I took no damage. So I could have gotten that fight over a little bit faster by playing the Sucker Punch and taking that 1 chip damage, but why do that if I could spend 1 extra turn to take no damage? Much, much, much more worth it to just take it slow and avoid the chip damage. Oh, and if you think 1 damage doesn't make a difference, it will. Allie, put the screenshot up on the screen right here. Edit that in. Okay, thank you. I kind of like footwork going into Guardian. Guardian is a boss that requires you to block a lot, and I like footwork going into that fight. It is a little nerve-wracking to try and fight a Gremlin Knob with this many non-attacks in my deck, but I think I can do it because I have a Fire Potion. Oh hey, look, it's Gremlin Knob. Alright. Let's try not to die here. So, do I play the Survivor or do I not? I'm probably going to, because the amount of damage it will prevent heavily outweighs the amount of damage I will receive in return. It depends on how the combat plays out. Okay, I'm pretty well set to kill next turn. And or just block a ton. Yeah, let's just block a ton here. Maybe if I'm lucky I can kill without the Fire Potion. Oh, I most certainly cannot. There we go. Pen Nib. This is a really good relic if you have shivs, because each shiv counts as an attack. Problem is I'm not really building into shivs, so maybe we can use this as our little call sign to say, oh, my deck can go one of 2 different ways. In Act 1, your deck is very skinny, so you have a lot of flexibility over what you can possibly draft in order to turn your deck into this or that. Crippling Cloud goes well with Sadistic Nature, and it goes well with Corpse Explosion, so I'm going to take it. And we just saw the Gremlin Knob, which means we're not going to see him again. You can't see an Elite twice in a row, so this is not going to be Gremlin Knob, guaranteed. I think I have lethal on one of these. Sadistic Nature is 5 damage per debuff. This is 2 debuffs, this is 1 debuff, so that's 15 damage. Plus 3, plus 6 poison is 24, and 24 damage on this is enough to kill it, and then I just strike this guy, Corpse Explosion kills the rest of it. Yeah, good stuff. There we go. Oh. I just came. Just so you know. This is a win condition that defeats Time Eater, it defeats Donu Deco with Corpse Explosion, it definitely defeats Guardian. This is the nuts. I got a really good starting hand. Not really great that I showcase how to win with a deck that's just very easy to win with. So I guess the advice that I would have in this sort of case is that you have to put hours under your belt. I would not have made the decisions that I made if it weren't for those hours. And for instance, if I hadn't picked that Sadistic Nature, I probably wouldn't have drafted so heavily into this Corpse Explosion build. And then Catalyst wouldn't have found its way into my deck. It just so happened that I found synergy with this, and therefore I wanted to draft this, and then I happened to find this. If I were a newer player, I might not have noticed that this has synergy with Sadistic Nature. I may not have even picked Sadistic Nature. I might have picked Metamorphosis or one of the other ones. And then I would have seen this Catalyst and been like, oh, this Catalyst is useless because I have no poison, right? I knew to make these choices because I have hours. So if I think if you were to remember anything over the course of the night, it's just to put more hours under your belt. That's probably the most important advice that I have for you. I'm probably going to wait until I can get Sadistic Nature and Footwork active. So it's important to not play anything here, right? Actually, false. We have a Pen Nib that we can charge up. So I can hit this Lagavulin without waking him up, like this, and now my pen nib has gone from 2 to 3. The closer you can get this thing to 10, the better, because you can get stronger attacks in sooner. And check it out. Didn't wake up. Let's charge up that pen nib. 1, 2. You can break the block, but as long as you don't reduce its HP, it won't wake up. Now it is turn 3, which means it is going to wake up regardless of whether I deal damage to it or not. The good news is this is the turn that I'm deciding to go in and deal a ton of damage. So here we go. Pen nib is on 8 because I charged it up, which is better than it being on 6. Okay. I think you know what time it is. Actually, no, it's not time for Catalyst yet. Let's play this. We can almost full block with this. Do I want to not take 1 chip damage? The Lagavulin's an elite, and it scares me. I think I'm going to start putting some hits into it, taking some chip damage. So, with this many hours under my belt, I have a lot of experience in knowing, can I afford to take this chip damage, or should I try to avoid it? I've gotten destroyed by enough rushdown Lagavulins to know I don't want to mess around with this guy. So I'm going to try and burst him down and take 1 point of chip damage just to try and speed the process along. There we go, that's a dead Lagavulin. Very nice. Horncleat's a good relic. Not many elites. Actually, 0 elites in Act 1. And 0 bosses in Act 1 will, matter of factly, now that I think about it, will hit you on turn 1. So Horncleat is really good to have in Act 1. This gives you 14 block on turn 2. So I am building into poison, but it's nice to fatten my deck out a little bit with some cards that deal straight up damage and maybe look for other things. Unload is a very powerful 1 energy attack, but I don't always want to discard the things in my hand. Actually, I don't think I mind discarding things in my hand. Unless I fight sentries. Dagger Throw seems okay. Helps me cycle for things that I need. I'll take Dagger Throw. And Akabeko, first attack deals 8 more damage. It's pretty good for early on, when your attacks are rather weak. Already we are seeing some Akabeko value, because now I can hit a louse without it uncurling. Like so. I don't have a ton of block here, which kind of sucks. I can kill this louse with a strike, strike, neutralize, and take 6. Or I can pop both the lice and take 4. That seems favorable. Okay. Now, before I end this fight, I want to try and make sure that my pen nib is charged up, so I'm not going to play this Crippling Cloud. Because I want to be able to play 3 attacks. If I play this Crippling Cloud, I will only be able to play a couple of attacks. Because they'll all die to poison before I can attack it enough to charge up my pen nib. Let's play this, because it doesn't matter. Let's play this. Let's play this. Okay, pen nib's on 8. That's good. Some people might find it to be a pain in the butt to constantly think about what charge your relics are on, and that's because it is a pain in the butt. This is one form of optimization that you can do at high level, and at high level you take every advantage you can get, because it does add up. My goal for this run is to show you all of the good things you could do, and then let you decide what you would like to do. Again, it comes back to when you start the run out, take a deep breath and say, Do I really want to worry about charging up my pen nib? Or do I just want to throw strikes at my opponents till they're dead? Because it might be option 2, and that's okay. It's a video game. You're meant to have fun in it. So have fun if you would like to. But if you want to have no fun and charge up your pen nib like me to improve your win rate, you can do that too. Dagger Spray I don't really think I want. Eviscerate and Concentrate don't really have any synergy for me right now, so I think I'm going to skip them. Yeah, I don't really want this Eviscerate. Well, it is a lot of damage. And I have a pen nib. Let's take this Eviscerate for fun, just see if it ends up working out for us. Ooh, Akabeko value, check this out. Boom. Ooh, pen nib value, check this out. Boom! That's why you charge your shit up, kids. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but tell me that that wasn't satisfying. Look me in the eye and tell me that wasn't satisfying. I can't kill the fat gremlin, so let's just poison him. Poison goes through block, so that helps. This fight's over. Let's do this for a pen nib charge. Very nice. I guess I could have waited there a little bit longer to charge the pen nib, but it's alright. Quick slash? Dagger throw? I don't think I need those. Skipping cards is important to keep your deck thin so that you can draw your win conditions more consistently. Yeah, this would be nice. Yeah, it is nice to deal 14 damage when my enemy is poisoned, which, let's be honest, they're likely going to be poisoned. But if you think about that synergy only, you will forget the most important synergy in your deck. So just because you spot a synergy doesn't mean you should take it. You want to keep your win condition in mind, your most important win conditions in mind. I should change that too. This is a synergy, but it is by far not your strongest synergy. This right here and this right here is my strongest synergy. I'm thinking about that. Now, you might ask, why did I draft an Eviscerate? Because Eviscerate has hardly any synergy in my deck. The only things I have that discard are this and this. The reason why I drafted Eviscerate is because this deck doesn't work very well against enemies that counter skills. So things like Gremlin Knob. In Act 2, there's going to be the Chosen. Eviscerate helps if you need to hit something really hard, like the Avocado. Sorry, not the Shelled Parasite is what it's called, but in the community we call it the Avocado. This is pretty good against that. It also gives my deck some direction if I want to draft things like Prepared. Prepared would be really good. I can look for the cards I need. Acrobatics would be really good. Calculated Gamble's really good. Well-Laid Plans is really good. I'm able to rattle all of these off because I know the metadata. You might not, and that's okay. Again, put some hours under your belt, and you might be able to recognize those patterns to improve your win rate. Okay. Here we are with Sentries. I would like to Corpse Explosion them all to death. So we're going to do this. And then we're going to play this. Now, I didn't poison the Sentry because the gear blocked it, but I did put the on death deal damage equal to its max HP to all enemies. So that's what I was going for here. Thank you, Sadistic Nature, for that. This Catalyst is probably not going to find use, so I'm going to exhaust it so that I'm more likely to draw a strike in my reshuffle. Oh, nice, everything's dead. Let's charge up the ink, the pen nib. There you go. Nice. Poison Stab's okay. I like Acrobatics because I have very important powers that also happen to be cheap. I also have an Eviscerate. Ooh. I just found the best relic in the game. Do I have it? Oh my gosh, I also found the best potion in the game. Oh my gosh, I also found another win condition. Holy cow. Always look at the shop for longer than you have to, because there's a lot of important decisions to be made. There's 7 cards, 3 relics, 3 potions, a possible card remove. You have to think about your relics you have, you have to think about the map, the potions you have, the deck you got, the build. You gotta think about everything here, so just take it slow. I can buy the orrery and the catalyst. That's really good. And I also just found a frozen egg, so if I find any powers in here, like well-laid plans or noxious fumes, those are all going to be upgraded. So let's look at the orrery. Now, when you buy orrery, you get 5 card rewards, as you can see. You never want to select a card. You always want to skip it until you've seen all the cards. Maybe I see another calculated gamble down here, but there was another offering that I really, really wanted, blah, 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 right? So you always want to look at all the offerings first before you lock in on any of them. That leg sweep is really cool. I like the piercing wheel too. Calculated gamble is going to get picked because it's really good. Backflip's also good, especially going into a guardian fight. I didn't draft a ton of block cards, so that helps. In addition, it helps me look for sadistic nature and footwork. Bullet time, I don't really want, because it's not my win condition. This helps me survive to get to my win condition. That helps me block. This helps me block. This helps me block. I just drafted a ton of cards. I'm a little nervous by how wide my deck is getting, but I feel very satisfied that I'll be able to block against the Guardian sufficiently. We should probably stave off of drafting any more block cards for now. Oh wow, Ceramic Fish just gave me 45 gold. That's funny. Make that 54. Cool. So right now my deck is saying block, 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 maybe deal damage with Sadistic Nature, but then we want to just go in with Catalyst. Once your deck has a good, healthy direction, you probably want to keep it. But you also want to think about what counters my deck. Things that counter my deck would be going too slow against Champ, going too slow against Time Eater, things that can prevent the amount of damage they take, like Awakened One, or the Nemesis, an elite in Act 3 that becomes intangible every other turn. But I have a good amount of block, so I think that if I can't get my win condition to line up perfectly, I can at least survive long enough to wait for it to work out perfectly. And for bosses like Champion or Time Eater, if I go slow, I could just choose to hang out because I'm a really patient player, and then just really stack up the poison before the big bad splits happen. So I think that I'm pretty satisfied with what counters this deck, and knowing that I am able to mitigate the damage that those counters will do to me. Another helpful rule of thumb in Slay the Spire is it's generally pretty bad to get cursed. A lot of players will discount the effectiveness of a thin, consistent deck. A lot of players won't realize that removing strikes and defends is really good. And if you're about to go into a shop, you might say, well, why don't I just get 175 and remove the doubt, and now I have plus 100 gold. Yeah, you're right about that. The other alternative is you don't get any gold, and you remove a strike or defend. So instead of having 27 up to 28, back down to 27 by card removing, I lose a bit of gold, but I remove an extra card, go down to 26. That is the type of mindset that gets you closer to a thin, consistent deck. A lot of players will lose, new players will lose because they don't draw the cards that they need to, and they're just like, oh man, I just got really unlucky. No, actually, you can increase your luck, so to speak, by making your deck thinner. which makes it more consistent, which makes you more likely to draw the cards you need on the turns you need it. I just realized I fought 3 elites without resting, which is pretty rad. I think I can beat a Guardian with 34 HP and then just heal to full at the end of this act, so I think I'm going to upgrade a card. In my opinion, the most important card to upgrade is... could be Catalyst. I have no trouble dealing enough damage to the Guardian, so I think I'm okay saving the Catalyst upgrade for another time, especially because I have an attack potion to deal that starting damage. The Guardian on turn 1 will block and then hit you for a big attack unless you deal enough damage to him. So, knowing that, I'm thinking to myself, can I deal 30 damage safely to the Guardian? I'm thinking so. Oh, actually we have the pen nib, so that's interesting. There we go. Let's see if we can find a bigger attack. No, we couldn't. All good. You might wonder why I threw away all that damage. And the reason why is because I knew that I was going to be able to deal 13 damage on this turn. And I wanted to be able to shuffle to turn 2 and get 3 more energy to do all of that. Alas, I did not draw 13 damage, which is really funny. The good news is I only take 3 here, so I think I didn't mean to click that. Yeah, lesson learned. Make sure you're a little careful with where your mouse goes. Yeah, we're fine though. I can afford to make these mistakes. I'm goated like that. We did activate all the powers that we needed to, which is good. All these footworks mean that we're basically not going to take any damage for the rest of the game, or the rest of the fight. I drafted 2 footwork. When did I draft 2 footworks? Huh, imagine that. I didn't realize. Nice. I'm gonna take this chip damage. I'm gonna heal after this anyway. Okay. We'll save the catalyst for when we get the poison a little bit higher. Oh, wow, I redrew the Eviscerate. That's lucky. I want to actually not split him. I want to not deal damage to him. The reason why is because he's not doing anything this turn. If I split him, he'll be attacking me for 10 next turn. I would rather the poison split him next turn and he does nothing next turn as well, so that I have time to stack up my true win condition, which is not Eviscerate. See how he's taking 7 poison here, and he only needs to take 5 in order to split to defensive form, and when he splits he cancels that 24 damage. That gives me time to redraw Corpse Explosion and stack up more poison. Then we're going to keep looking for more poison. I think we still wait on Catalyst. Who am I kidding? Who wants to do that? Nice. Wow, 2 footworks really carried me here, huh? And you die now. Bye-bye. Okay. We have been offered a Nightmare, which is really, really good with Catalyst. The thing is, though, is that I already have 2 Catalysts, which is usually more than enough to deal the relevant amount of poison to get a kill on a big HP enemy. Not to mention, Nightmare is a very expensive card, and I don't have energy generation in my deck. So, I actually think I want to skip this Nightmare. Wraith Form is really good. You're basically invincible for 3 turns. And I have the frozen egg, so it's already upgraded. I really can't say no to a Wraith Form Plus. Wraith Form Plus, if you know the tier list, is in S+ tier, because it makes you invincible for 3 turns. What do I want to draft here? I've been taking Cursed Key a lot in my personal runs in Act 2, because I really like Cursed Key. A lot of people think it's really scary, and you might also recall, well, Allie, you told me that curses are really bad. Why would you want Cursed Key if you just told me that thickening your deck and accepting curses is really bad? This is an aspect of Cursed Key that new players don't really realize right off the bat, which is that when you see a chest, you don't need to open it. So read the text for Cursed Key very carefully. Whenever you open a non-boss chest, obtain a curse. If you run into a chest, you can simply choose not to open it, and you won't get that curse. This is what I mean when I say curses are really bad. It is to the point where you would completely skip a relic in order to not obtain a curse. Sometimes you do want it, but it's rather rare in my experience. I much more often prefer not to take the relic and to not receive the curse. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the relics don't win you the game. It's the cards that win you the game. This Akabeko won me a couple combats in Act 1, but it's not going to do much more than that. Because I'm not going to be fighting lice that have 11 health. I'm going to be fighting chosens and birds that have 40 plus health. So the Akabeko is going to be significantly less relevant to me this run. Sometimes you will see relics that win you the game, but it depends on the way that your run goes. If I pick this Cursed Key, it means that I will need to rely more on cards than I do on relics. Or I will need to fight more elites in order to get sufficient relics in order to beat the game with my relics. That all being said, I really like Hovering Kite, because there are lots of ways that I can discard cards. I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this, and there's way more to come. So I can do it pretty consistently. I think I would like this Hovering Kite. And that way I can get all my relics from the Cursed Key chests as well. Okay. It is Act 2, so I need to re-lock in. This is where my attention starts to sway, usually. So at the start of the act, I'd see what boss we're facing, and I figure out how well can I beat this boss. We're fighting a Bronze Automaton, which starts with 3 artifacts, which means it negates the first 3 debuffs it experiences. The good news is that I have a ton of debuffs, because I'm kind of, building into it. Not to mention, I can catalyst it enough to deal all 300% of its max HP, and I got Intangible for the turn that it chooses to Hyper Beam me for 51 damage in one fell swoop. So, I think I counter this Bronze Automaton really well. So, knowing that it doesn't really concern me in this fight, I'm thinking more about how can I become stronger. Because I am not at all concerned with whether I can beat the Bronze Automaton or not. I could probably be thrust into that battle right now and be fine. I've got tons of block, I've got lots of sustain, I've got ways to kill it, and I have ways to survive. So, yeah, I can spend most of this act just making myself stronger and waltz into that boss fight knowing that I can handle it very confidently. Now here's the ironic part. I can defeat the Bronze Automaton really well, but I can't really beat Book of Stabbing really well. Sometimes I will struggle against the Slavers. The Gremlin Leader I'm not super concerned about, but some of these elite fights are actually scarier than this boss fight. And the only reason I know that is because I understand the metadata of these enemies, I know the counters, I know their strengths and weaknesses. Book of Stabbing will really, really hurt you if you can't get set up quickly, and I take a long time to get set up. Bronze Automaton gives you plenty of time to get set up. And I only know that because I have 3,000 hours in this game. So, take that with a grain of salt. I am probably going to try and challenge some elites and see if I can find some good relics. and I want to find something that helps me get off the ground quickly. Because again, that's my weakness. Maybe a bag of prep, and adrenaline, concentrate would be okay. Another acrobatics would be good, so that I can synergize with this hovering kite easier. Prepared would be good. Prepared would be excellent. A mummified hand would be something else, but not very likely that we just stumble into that. Right, let's see. Ooh. Forgot to mention, Act 2 is the act that is most densely populated with multi-enemy fights. So you will see a lot of value from corpse explosion in this act. Let's see if we can find something that helps us not take a ton of damage here. I should be pretty set to just Piercing Wail and chill. Maybe let's see if we can get the Sadistic Nature. No, we couldn't. That's okay. Now, you might remember me saying you always want to hit the enemy with the lowest HP first. So you might say, well, Ali, why did you hit the Mugger first? Because the Mugger has more max HP than the Looter. And the reason why is because the Mugger actually runs earlier, statistically, more often than the Looter does. So you want to hit the Mugger first because it's more likely to make away with your money faster than the Looter does. Additionally, on the turn before they run, you might remember that they will look for the smoke bomb and they will block. The Looter blocks for 6 block, and the Mugger blocks for 17. So he's much harder to get through than the Looter is. So you want to hit the Mugger first because he blocks more and because he runs faster on average. We are kind of in the Corpse Explosion waiting room. So I'm probably going to just Sadistic Nature, Wraith Form, and chill. Now we just need to hit the Mugger. Ah, you see, the Mugger is preparing to run on this turn, and the Looter is not. There you go. That's the science of it. We can afford to take 1 chip damage, I think. Oh, actually we don't have to. We could just Catalyst. 1, 2, and I believe everything is dead. Ah, here's an interesting quandary. I could play the Strike and win this turn, but that would use up this Pen Nib charge here. I want to keep that Pen Nib on 9, because, you know, it's nice to have an attack that's double damage. Why don't I just play the Survivor right now? And yeah, I don't get to kill next turn, but this turn, but I am guaranteed to win next turn, because this Mugger will die and explode his corpse all over the Looter. There you go. I prevented 1 chip damage, and I kept the Pen Nib on 9. I'm happy. I don't like any of these. So we are going to keep our deck thin and consistent and skip it. Ooh. This is interesting. So we were expecting to go into this shop here and remove cards, but now we have the Pleading Vagrant offering us a trade of 85 gold for a relic. As you might remember me describing with the Cursed Key, it's generally not worth it to accept curses in return for a relic. Because curses are bad. Inflating your deck is bad. So now the question is, do I want to take a relic for 85 gold and possibly not have enough to remove a card at this shop? Oh gosh, I don't remember. Did I remove a card in Act 1? I don't believe I did. Yeah, I've got 5 strikes, 5 defense. I didn't remove a card in Act 1. Ah, if you remember, I bought the Orrery and the second Catalyst, and I had about 50 left over, and I didn't have enough for a card remove there. As you might remember, every time you buy a card remove, the cost increases by 25. So knowing this, I know that if I buy this relic for 85, I will have 90 left, and 90 is enough to get a card remove at the shop, because I know it's 75. Ooh. This looks like a great place to get rid of a bad card. If you don't know how the Bonfire Spirits work, if you remove a card that you start with, like Strike, Defend, Survive, or Neutralize, nothing will happen. If you remove a common card, you'll heal for 5. If you remove an uncommon card, you'll heal to full. And if you remove a rare card, you'll heal to full and increase your max HP by 10. So this is a pretty good event to run into if you're low on HP. You can just lose an uncommon card and heal all the way to full. Now, right now we're only missing 2 HP, so it's okay if I choose not to remove an uncommon card. Matter of factly, we're kind of leaning more towards poison here, so I'm probably going to start removing strikes at this point, because I don't really need to heal. Additionally, strikes are not my win condition by a long shot. Yeah, I have this pen nib, but there are other ways to activate it. Okay. We can no longer see Meat on the Bone, Tiny Chest, or Clockwork Souvenir for the rest of the run. This Panacea would be kind of appetizing if I had the money for it. The reason being, Panacea will block the debuff that you get from Wraith Form. So if you have any artifact, Wraith Form will be gain 3 intangible. At the end of the turn, you won't lose 1 dexterity. So it can be helpful to have artifact when you are drafting a Wraith Form. Unfortunately, we can't afford this Panacea, so we can't buy it. Do I want an escape plan? I do have double footwork and a ton of skills in this deck. So escape plan is rather good for me here. Is it worth it to not remove a card here? I wonder. Well, when I drafted this Orrery, I told myself I wouldn't need to block very much for the foreseeable future. Matter of factly, when we were talking about the game plan for how to defeat the Bronze Automaton, I said I could probably go there right now and block for enough. So even though this escape plan will probably block me for a lot over the course of the run, I don't think I need it. I think I will remove another strike, because we've got 2 footworks and a leg sweep and a ton of defense, and I think we're fine. What are we looking for here? We're not really looking for cards. Like I mentioned, we're already ready to fight the Bronze Automaton, so I think we'll take this question mark, maybe hope for a card remove. We found an avocado, which is not my favorite, but we'll be okay. Card order dictates I play this first, and then we play this. Very nice. Let's... Oh, wow. We get Akabeko Pen Nib, so this is a very big slap to the avocado. Yes, yes. Very nice. It's not very often that I draft Sadistic Nature, but when I do, it's always surprisingly effective. There we go. Let's start charging that pen nib while we still can. Very nice. Pen nib's on 7. Now, I wouldn't buy an escape plan for 70, but if you're going to offer me a deflect plus for free, I'm probably going to take it, because that is a considerable amount of block with 5 dexterity. Do we want to upgrade cards a lot? We obviously don't need to heal. If I were to upgrade any cards, what would I upgrade? Piercing Wail. Ooh, Catalyst, definitely. Acrobatics. Neutralize sometimes, Sucker Punch sometimes. I think I would rather have a question mark than a campfire. Because question marks make it more likely for me to remove cards or see a library, something in Act 2 that's good. Maybe Council of Ghosts, probably not though. But I like question marks more than campfires right now because of the present state of it. We found Book of Stabbing, which, like I mentioned, is kind of our counter. So we're going to need to be a little bit careful here. We did rip our Crippling Cloud on turn 1, which is pretty sweet. Very uncommon that you have enough energy to block and also get that done. So that's good news. This Flying Kite is really paying off for us. Ah, man, I drew Catalyst at a really poor time, didn't I? Let's just activate it. I think it's going to be worthwhile to get it ready now rather than later. Book of Stabbing will heavily punish you if you take too long. And saving that Catalyst means I'm planning to take too long, so I'm not going to do that. Did I tell you guys about the potion tingle? I described in Act 1 about how the percentages increase or decrease. And by principle, I have a feeling when I see a potion or not. And usually when I have the potion tingle, I'll go to the map and I'll figure out how many fights I've done to see what my exact percentage chance to see a potion is going to be. I saw a potion from the avocado fight, which means my percent chance to see a potion here is going to be 40, 50, 40 again. Block Potion isn't super valuable, so I'm kind of tempted to just throw it away here so I can get this Corpse Explosion active. And then just chill. That seems alright to me. Yeah, my potion tingle was a little bit off for this fight because my chance to see a potion is only 40% after I beat Book of Stabbing, but that's okay. Again, because the block potion isn't super valuable, and I've got lots of time to see more potions. This is a pretty good reshuffle. Okay, you scare me. You scare me a lot. Oh, wow, we perfect lucked. Imagine that. I didn't actually expect a perfect luck there, but here we are. Obviously, we have lethal this turn, but I'm going to try and charge up that pen nib if I can, because every little bit counts. Ah, we got 2 more attacks onto the pen nib stacks, which is really good. Cool. Oh my gosh, I am a prophet. Do you remember on floor 18 when I said, oh, if we found a mummified hand, I would cream? Yeah, there it is. So we're in a really good spot here. We also found a prepared, which I had mentioned was another thing we were looking for. This is the nuts. We are pretty set up here. If we weren't ready to beat the Bronze Automaton already, well, now we are. We basically just play all of our powers super duper fast, which is really, really nice. This being the case, we can now focus less on energy and more on card draw, which means I am tempted to upgrade Prepared. The question is, do we have enough poison? I kind of want to upgrade my Crippling Cloud because it doesn't feel like enough poison to get off the ground with. There's also Catalyst upgrade. Prepared upgrade is what I really want to do, but I think I'm going to upgrade this Crippling Cloud first. Because having 4 poison go down to 3 is just not enough. Ooh, I found an Omamori. That's pretty sweet. If I wasn't tempted to get question marks before, I now am, because Omamori negates the next 2. What? Oh wait, this is a chest room. Okay, I thought I got 2 random chests in a row. Juzu Bracelet. Not the best relic, but I suppose I'll take it. Okay, and now we will see very quickly why Mummified Hand is such a good relic. That costs 0. That costs 0. And now that costs 0. I'm gonna play Corpse Explosion here. Gonna play Piercing Wail here. And everything dies. Very nice. I totally didn't need to play that Wraith form, but I wanted to, because it was funny. Let's play you. And let's play you. Let's play you. And then, do we want to play this prepared? No, because there is a chance, albeit small, that we draw this Catalyst and can't play it. But why take that risk? We want to be able to play this Catalyst next turn, and I don't want to risk not being able to do that. Yeah, let's kill her. Looks like Pen Nib is on 9, which means I am motivated to try and keep it there. So if we can get away with beating this fight without triggering Pen Nib, then we're in a really good spot. Matter of factly, we can. You might think, well, Ali, you're going to take 18 damage here. I don't think it's worth it. Actually, I have lethal on one Sneaky Gremlin, which is because if I play Corpse Explosion on it, Sadistic Nature will trigger twice to deal 5 damage twice, 16 total damage, with the Corpse Explosion, means that it's also going to deal its max HP to the other Sneaky Gremlin. TLDR, I don't take any damage this turn, which is pretty swag. There we go. And now we just wait for the Gremlin Leader to die. Or not. Maybe we just kill her this turn. There we go. Prepared Plus, absolutely. Synergizes heavily with Flying Kite. And now we get to reap what we've sown, which means we get to strike for 12 damage instead of 6, which is not super great, but like I mentioned earlier, 1 damage can make a difference. And believe you me, it has, in more situations than I would care to admit, cost me the run. I would estimate there have been 3 or 4 dozen runs where 1 damage has made the difference between victory and defeat for me. It sounds like an exaggeration. I promise you it is not. It is all too common of an occurrence for you to lose by 1 damage or 1 block. Let's put Corpse Explosion on you, because that way we can deal 53 damage to the Chosen here. This Eviscerate coming in more handy than I expected it to. There we go. Let's see if we can charge this Pen Nib a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Regen Potion. That seems better than a Speed Potion for a deck that blocks so much. Leg Sweep number 2 seems like a bit too much. Let's try and keep the deck a little bit thin here, unless we see something exceptional. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything super duper important here. Abacus can be fun if you want to build into an infinite, but that's not really what I'm intending to do. So I think I will just remove another strike. There we go. Match and keep. A lot of people will try to find cards here. Oh, well, okay, I found my first card. It's important to consider when you find a match, is this a card that you want to draft? I don't want a Phantasmal Killer, so I'm going to intentionally lose this match, because I really don't want that in my deck. I really don't want a Parasite in my deck. If this is a Parasite, that's really bad, so I'm going to guarantee I don't pick one. Yeah, I don't want that either. We did get lucky, because the card that we did get on accident was an Acrobatics, and Acrobatics is really, really good with Flying Kite, so lucky us. Okay, This guy is very weak to poison, so I am feeling really good here. Let's see if we can charge our pen nib too in the meantime. Thank you, Horncleat. Oh, I took 1 damage. My B. Okay, pen nib is on 8. I need 1 more attack for this to be worthwhile. There it is. Very nice. Pen nib's on 9. And now we chill. Don't want any of these. Whenever you're drafting a card, think about your win condition. This doesn't help me. This doesn't help me. This gives me 12 cumulative block over the course of its casting, but I don't need 12 block, because I have enough. But you have footwork, and footwork synergizes. Yeah, you don't need this. You have 5 defends, you got a backflip, you got a deflect, you have enough block. Remember, just because you see a synergy doesn't mean you should monkey brain into picking it. So just take a step back and ask yourself, yeah, it synergizes, but do I need it? Sometimes you will find a synergy that you do need, and that's okay. But consider if you need it or not. That's the step above. That will elevate your gameplay and your win rate. I'm a little nervous about being able to deal enough poison to the Bronze Automaton, so I think I will upgrade Catalyst. Yeah, I only have instances of 1 week here, but again, remember, I block enough. So I'm not too worried about being able to weaken the Bronze Automaton on a turn that is he's hyper beaming 4 or something. Okay. Let's try and get rid of that artifact so we can start stacking poison. There we go. The way the orbs work for the RNG is that they will always steal the 2 rarest cards in your deck. So the first one is going to take either my Sadistic Nature or my Wraith form, and the other one will take whichever rare card the first one did. What do I want to do this turn? Do I want a Crippling Cloud or Corpse Explosion? I think I would rather Corpse Explosion, because Corpse Explosion on the orbs is really, really strong. And we can always stack poison later, so let's just do this. Ooh, my potion tingle is tingling. Should I drink an attack potion? Probably not. I'll be okay. Let's pass. See? This one took Sadistic. This one will take the Wraith form. There you go. I don't like these. I love Eviscerate. Very nice. You have Sadistic Nature, which I would like. Thank you for returning that to me. Okay. The Bronze Automaton is going to Hyper Beam on turn 6, which means if I play the Wraith form now, I will be intangible for the turn that it Hyper Beams. So the question is, do I want to do that now? I actually don't think so. I think I'll play this Crippling Cloud and just take 2 damage in order to get the poison ball rolling. Oh yeah, we will get the poison ball rolling for sure. Catalyst will give him 36 poison. Yeah, that seems okay. It's not insane, but it's a decent amount. Oh wow, we're actually kind of raw dogging it here. Ow. Yeah, if this were higher than Ascension 5, that would be a big punish, because you don't heal to full after Ascension 5. It's Ascension 1, though, so we're kind of allowed to take it relaxed a little bit. I expect that when this guy dies, we will heal to full, because we will. There's the Eviscerate. Very nice. GG. Ooh. I don't think I want another Corpse Explosion. Corpse Explosion helps me to remove artifacts and stack a teensy bit of poison, but ultimately that's what Crippling Cloud and the first Catalyst is for, so I don't think I want this second one. It's also really expensive. Now, Alchemize, this is a very high-tiered rare card. It incentivizes new players to use potions, because a lot of new players will forget to use potions. And also, if you know how to optimize your fights and hang out while you get more stacks on the pen nib, etc., you can also discard potions that are not so good, so you can re-roll them to find better ones. I really like Alchemize here. And then we're going to pick the relic that says you can't pick potions, obviously. I don't think I want a Calling Bell. Oh, actually, I would really love a Calling Bell, because I have this cute little thing right here. Thank you, Momori, for your service. This is really, really interesting, because if you thought optimizing pen nib was bad enough, how do you feel about optimizing pen nib and Nunchaku and Incense Burner at the same time? Optimizing Incense Burner is one of the most tedious relics to optimize, because you can't just play a certain number of attacks. You have to end your turn a certain number of times. But if you have the RNG or the attack phases of an enemy memorized, you will find that Incense Burner is one of the most powerful relics in the game. For instance, right now we're fighting an Awakened One. I know that Awakened One will either big attack on turn 2 or turn 3, which means that when I enter the Awakened One fight, I want my Incense Burner, before I enter the fight, to either say 3 or 4. If it says 5, that's really bad, because I will enter on turn 6, become intangible, and I know the Awakened One is not going to attack me on that turn. TLDR is Incense Burner will allow you to fine-tune the turn that you're intangible on, if you choose to optimize it. So let's try and have some fun here, and optimize the Incense Burner, wait around for a good turn to kill the opponent on, and let's see what good can come of it. The other question is, how do I defeat an Awakened One? Presently, I have 4 powers in my deck, one of which I totally don't have to play. Technically 3 of them of which I don't have to play, so we're in a pretty good spot to defeat the Awakened One. We also have a Piercing Wail. Piercing Wail has a really interesting mechanic when you are fighting certain bosses, like Time Eater, or the Awakened One. Time Eater and the Awakened One have 2 phases of their fight. Upon entering phase 2, the boss in question, whether it's the Awakened One or the Time Eater, will cleanse all of its debuffs before it will come back to the fight. Now, this has a really interesting and actually intended mechanic with the Piercing Wail. So if you remember what the Awakened One does, every time you play a power, it gains 1 strength. Now, if I were to play this Piercing Wail just before I killed the phase 1 of the Awakened One, this will reduce its strength by 6, and it will give it a special buff that says at the end of the turn, gain 6 strength back. This is the game's way of coding lose 6 strength for this turn only, which is what Piercing Wail does. Now, the interaction that Piercing Wail and this rebuff has with the cleansing is that when you remove the 6 strength, it's not technically a debuff. So let's say that the Awakened One had 6 strength, right? I used the Piercing Wail on it. Its strength goes down to 0. Is its strength debuffed? No. Because its strength is at 0, which the game doesn't consider a debuff. It does get the gain 6 strength back at the end of the turn, but when it goes to phase 2 after you kill it from phase 1, it loses that rebuff. So effectively, if you time when you use the Piercing Wail on a time eater or during an awakened one, you can reduce its strength by 6 permanently. By up to 6. The caveat to this is, let's say the awakened one has 3 strength. I use Piercing Wail on it, and its strength goes from +3 to -3. Is that -3 strength a debuff? Yes, in this case it is, because it has negative strength. When the awakened one enters phase 2 and cleanses its debuffs, it will reset its strength to 0. So it's still worth it to reduce its strength by a little bit from 3 back to 0. It's not as valuable as if you reduce its strength from 6 to 0 or from 8 to 2, but it's worthwhile nonetheless. So hopefully over the course of this run we will have a chance to showcase this exploit with the Piercing Wail. I think we're in a good spot to fight the Awakened one, because we don't have a ton of powers, we've got the Piercing Wail exploit up our sleeves. So now we have to ask ourselves, what else are we looking for in Act 3? You should always ask yourself, what's my win condition and how can I make it stronger? Right now my win condition is poison. So for an Awakened one fight, something that has 2 phases and cleanses all of its poison, poison's not the best. So what I should be looking for is a way to get it through phase 1 in order to dump a ton of poison on it in phase 2. I'm also looking for card removes. I'm looking for question marks because I still have a charge of the Omamori spell tag left. I'm looking for cards that draw and discard because I have Hovering Kite and because I'm looking for ways to set up with my Mummified hand. And I am looking for, I suppose, something crazy in the shop. We have this early shop here with some question marks before that. That path looks really nice. And then we also have a few elites here. Oh wow, we have a 4 elite path. Yeah, we're definitely doing that. Here we go. We really like seeing the 3 shapes fight. Because Corpse Explosion is something that exists. And it is really, really good. I'm not going to end my turn here because I have a letter opener, and I would like to deal 5 damage to everyone. Please and thank you. Okay, where's my Corpse Explosion? I think I'm going to discard an attack potion and try and roll for something better with the Alchemize. Hey, I think that's better. Thank you, letter opener. Let's put a Corpse Explosion on you. And we're all done. Yeah, we didn't get to optimize the pen nib here or the nunchaku, but that's probably okay. There we go. This acrobatics is definitely the pick. We've got our hovering kites, and we have powers that we need to activate. This is 100% the pick. It is Act 3, so we want to start getting into the mindset of trying our hardest to keep our deck thin. Falling is pretty good here. I am okay with losing a footwork, specifically because we are fighting an awakened one. That seems okay. But I also like removing Neutralize, because Neutralize doesn't really help us. It's not a card that you know, pop off with when you see it. We already have weakening from Leg Sweep. We got a little bit from Sucker Punch, but the majority of our preservation of health is going to come from 2 things that are not neutralized. It's going to come from the footwork value, and it's going to come from optimizing this Incense Burner for big attacks. So I think I'm happy to lose this Neutralize. Alright. Peace Pipe. It's a pretty good way to keep our deck thin. That significantly alters the paths that we are hoping to take here. I would like to do some campfires to remove some cards here, if possible. Oh. Wow, this is a hell of a shop. We've been offered a Dark Shackles, which has the same exploitive power of a Piercing Wail when it comes to removing the strength buff on the Awakened one, or Time Eater. We also got offered a Catalyst and a Noxious Fumes. Oh my gosh, this is kind of the nuts. Can I afford all of this? What's 91 plus 77 plus 67? That's, Oh, I don't have enough, actually. Yeah, I'm 4 gold short of being able to buy Noxious Fume, Catalyst, Dark Shackles. I would be pretty satisfied buying a Noxious Fumes, I think. I don't think I need another Catalyst, because we have enough damage to get through Phase 1 of the Awakened one. I would be okay with the card remove, though. I love card removes. Let's get rid of a Strike, because that is not our source of damage. Let's go here. When you find the Sensory Stone, you should always consider how much health you have and if you can take more damage. I can totally take more damage here, so I'm going to look at 3 cards. The likelihood of seeing rare cards from this is, I believe, a little bit higher than normal, so it's okay to look at these cards. Enlightenment is pretty good with not really much on my deck, so I think I'm going to skip that. I would be interested in taking a Panic Button. This is a really good card. I'm going to skip the rest. Alright. Let's keep looking for answers. Yeah, we're basically just looking to poison the shit out of this guy. Let's drink an attack potion. Oh, an Entropic Brew. It's a fun thing to have when you're full on potion slots. Also, ouch. Okay. Oh, I'm not a fan of my current state of Incense Burner, but we'll have to get over it. Oh, that's a big Eviscerate. Nice. Okay. I don't want to play my Panic Button because he's doing the big attack next turn. Oh, thank you, Flying Kite. Very nice. Okay. Now we play Operation Try Not to Die. Id Est, we play Wraithform. Very nice. Yeah, I think we're just chilling. Let's see if we can grab another instance of poison. Yeah, we cannot. That's okay. There we go. Homeboy is dead in a few turns. Oh, thank you, Nunchaku. I forgot that you were here to give me extra energy. Very nice. Thank you, letter opener. Now remember, even though you could just end your turn and kill with poison here, you're going to want to try and optimize what you can if you have the energy to do so, which means playing strikes, trying to get your higher pen nib charges, get your higher nunchaku charges, even though the fight is all but one. There we go. Incense Burner means that I'm going to enter the next fight with it on 5. So if on turn 2 the next fight hits me really, really hard, that'll be pretty good. So if I fight a Nemesis and he's doing the 45 damage attack on turn 2, I'm in a good spot for that. Fear Potion does not help me, so I'm going to skip it. None of this helps me, so I'm going to skip it. Very nice. Just as promised, I'm going to toke at this campfire because I want my deck to be thin and consistent. Very nice. We also just got a Art of War, so that's pretty good for here. Oh, what an interesting hand. I have 3 acrobatics. Do I want to play this Alchemize for anything? Let's see what we find. Oh, I'm intangible next turn, so... Oh, this is so funny. I'm going to play the panic button, even though I don't take damage this turn, because I want this letter opener to go off and kill this dagger. Whenever the daggers attack you, they shuffle a wound into your deck. Now, the concern over this is that I won't be able to block next turn. I won't need to, because my Incense Burner is going to get to turn 6 next turn, which means I only take 1 damage from everything. So I'm going to play the panic button to deal damage this turn, which is not a sentence that I think I have ever said in my entire life, but here we are. We're in a good spot to just lay into the Reptomancer. Oh wow, removing all those strikes was insane for Art of War value. Cool. And now we just try to optimize the pen nib and the nunchaku by hitting things. Here we go. Play you. And now the fight's all done. Crippling Cloud number 2. I don't think I need that. A potion belt. That's pretty good, because I have an Entropic Brew. Let's see if this next floor I can use my regen potion. Am I seeing another shop here? I am. My card remove currently costs 150, I remember from the last shop. So I don't think I want to take this. Not to mention I'm not fighting Donudeka, so there are no artifacts I need to remove, and the Awakened one can't even big attack on turn 1 anyway. So getting this red mask, not super worth it. We drink the regen potion. Okay. What am I doing here? Okay. Catalyst or Eviscerate? Oh, Eviscerate just ends his life. That's hilarious. Let's try and keep our pen nib on 9 if that's the case. I think we can win without attacking this combat. It'll also give us some time to optimize the Incense Burner, which is pretty swell. Hey, stop scratching my carpet. Hey. Okay. Now we're just looking for other catalyst. Very nice. Cool, we're all done. Footwork number 3. Seems like a good way to block consistently. You might recall that we don't want to draft powers into the Awakened one. For specifically... Actually, this goes for any enemy. When you're intentionally picking some strategy that involves an enemy that hard counters that strategy, you have to ask yourself, do I outscale the opponent? So think of it this way. When I play the Footwork, the Awakened one is going to gain 1 strength. But that means when I play the Footwork Plus, all of my block cards are going to give me 3 extra block. If you ask me, that's worth it. Because 1 strength is at most going to give the Awakened one 1 extra damage on the 4 times multi-attack, which means 4 more damage. The amount of block that I will gain from 3 dexterity significantly outweighs the deficit that I will experience when the Awakened one gains a strength. So drafting this Footwork is okay. Not to mention, I have a mummified hand, so there's heavy synergy that plays into that. Let us toke once more. I think I want to try and remove some attacks because I have an Art of War. Let's remove this Sucker Punch. Dagger Throw's okay, because I have Hovering Kite. We are motivated to remove the Dagger Throw too, though. Oh. Yeah, let's just remove the Dagger Throw. Or the Eviscerate. It's the Eviscerate. Yeah. Very nice. 1 more elite for the road, and we have the Incense Burner on 5, which is the best permutation against the Nemesis because he is 50% chance likely to hit me for a big attack on turn 2. And I'm hoping he does because he's a big asshole. Let's play all of our powers as we can. Do I want to play this Wraith form? Honestly, yeah, we probably can. Now I'll have a ton of intangible. Oh, he was going to hit me for the multi-attack anyway, so. So the win condition for this is we play a ton of poison, and we sit and wait for him to die. Yeah, I don't really want to play this backflip, but I think I have to, because this is the very turn that the Nemesis is going to put 3 burns in my discard, and I don't want those in my next reshuffle. The problem with that is that I have my Catalyst in my hand right now, which means when I discard my Catalyst this turn, it's not going to be in the reshuffle either. So the question is, would I rather have this Catalyst in the discard for my next reshuffle, but not have the 3 burns in there? Or have the Catalyst and the 3 burns in the next reshuffle? Oh my gosh, I have 3 energy. How about neither? I play the Catalyst, and I don't get the burns in the shuffle either. There we go. Best of both worlds. I think I'm going to get through the rest of this run without playing an attack, which is really funny. Okay, you're dead next turn. I quite like Incense Burner saying 3, because that means that if the Awakened one does a big attack on turn 3, which it's 50% likely to do, I'll be in a good spot for that. So let's just kill this guy. we go. I don't want any of that. And then, last but not least, we're going to toke our defend, I believe. Yeah, I don't want to remove all of my attacks, because then what is my pen nib even for? Holy cow. I think I actually have just the one attack in my deck. That's really funny. Alright, it's the last fight, and you know what that means. Let's drink all of our potions. Oh my god, this Eviscerate deals 30 times 3. Do I Catalyst now or later? I think I'd rather wait. Oh, these are useless. Ah, alas, the Awakened one is doing the big attack on turn 2. The good news is I have a ton of block, and I don't intend to play a ton of powers here, so... yeah, we don't need this nature. Another attack potion. Ooh, here's a cool tech. I have no energy. I could play the Skewer and do nothing, but actually, it won't do nothing. It'll give me an energy. So what I'm hoping will happen is that I draw some card that costs 1 that does something, like a Footwork. Ooh, yeah. That was very useful. Thank you, Corpse Explosion. Let's try and cycle back to the things that we need. We have no need to play Catalyst yet. We can just sit in the waiting room for it to die. We can also spend this time activating our powers, which is nice. Play this for Pen Nib and an Nunchaku charge. There we go. We're in a good spot here. Optimizing that Pen Nib for the Eviscerate from the attack potion was actually really helpful. I didn't expect it to come in that much handy, but it did. The Eviscerate will carry us to victory. Very nice. I'm trying to reshuffle back to my catalysts here. I don't want to play this because I have my Pen Nib active. I could play my Liquid Memories. Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna win this fight anyway. There we go. Alright. Good chance to use Piercing Whale. Oh, I didn't do the exploit where we reduce its strength permanently. Oh, that's a bummer. I totally forgot to. My bad. My bad, y'all. No. Well, we can't win them all. Actually, we will win them all, because we're just destroying this guy on all social media platforms. Okay. I think we're going to pop this Wraith form at last. Very nice. And he's done so. GG. Alright, so what did we learn from this run? This is something that I like to do often, which is at the end of the run, I just go back to the run history and take a look at what happens, revel in the victory, and celebrate and reminisce very fondly over what parts of the run were successful. I really like how quickly everything came together. Like, right here, this is where we just got everything we needed. We also got a significant power spike. I think it was like... yeah, right here when we picked up the Mummified Hand. And as you remember, on floor 17, 18, I was like, ooh, wouldn't it be great if we had a Mummified Hand? So here we got it. That was pretty nice. And now comes the tougher question, which is what could we work on? It's hard to tell what we could work on, because this run we just got so dang lucky. You know, we've got the Mummified Hand. We got all the poison. We got an Incense Burner. We got an Art of War. We got all the card removes that we possibly needed. I think that if we hadn't gotten so many card removes, this run would have really suffered. And therefore, I feel like there were a lot of opportunities for us to not select cards that I didn't capitalize on. That panic button actually was totally not necessary. It got in the way a lot of the time. It was a dead draw. I didn't want to play it. Really odd for me to consider not drafting an S+ card like Panic Button, especially against a boss that hits you so dang hard, but that was a really strange choice that I could have made, and it would have benefited me. I had enough block from the double footworks and from all the backflips and the defends, and that was actually a suitable amount of block that I had, so not drafting Panic Button was correct there. I still stand by drafting Sadistic Nature because it gave me all the damage that I needed to get through Act 1. And it was also a substantial amount of damage to deal like little bits here and there to get through Act 3 and then poison with the rest. Drafting-wise, it seems actually pretty alright. I feel like I could have picked a different relic than Calling Bell just to get a little extra energy, but fortunately, it all worked out with Art of War. Maybe I could consider that in situations where I don't get an Nunchaku, or I don't get an Art of War, that picking a boss relic that gives me energy is more important. Even if I already had a Hovering Kite in a Mummified Hand. Maybe that's a take that I shouldn't have made, but yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and listening to me geek out about all this, giving advice where I could. Let me know if you enjoyed it. And yeah, let me know what things you would like to see next from me in this Slay the Spire series. Yeah. Bye.
And I said it's not simple.